The joint unions, primarily the Belize National Teachers Union and the Public Service Union, brought the numbers, the energy and the rhymes to demonstrate against the government on the steps of the National Assembly. It was a show of force with easily more than 300 green and yellow shirts, a sea of teachers and public officers who chanted and danced to the rhythms of the Garfina drums.
Well, our teachers have been waiting for this day for a while, They have been excited to be here, and so they are finally here, and they are just showing that excitement in the midst of the message that we are sending across.
As you can see, it's a beautiful scene out here. It's an expression of freedom. It's an expression that enough is enough. It's an expression that reform we must.
That reform they're clamoring for is good governance, a call for government to implement anti-corruption laws. And that demand has become magnified as government gets ready to cut salaries by 10% and implement a wage freeze as cost-cutting measures.
This is not about our 10% only. The 10% is actually the bottom of the list of priorities that we are taking action out here for today. On top of the list is the good governance legislation that we want the government to give us some commitment that they are going to implement. Don't say that they are interested or they are working on it. Give us some solid commitment. We want the Whistleblowers Act. We want the Illicit Enrichment Act. We want the assets recovery legislations. Those are some of the immediate ones that we want. And for the government to say to us that, well, they are having problems drafting those legislations. Man, those legislations exist somewhere in the world, right? It's just to tweak it to our Belize situation. So they don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. So it can't be that you will take a whole year, 2 years, or whatever the suggestion is.
And today, as the national budget debate took place inside the National Assembly, public officers and teachers found creative and lighthearted ways to drive home serious messages to G.O.B. They used posters and banners, as well as songs, and one man even pulled out a bukut that has become a grassroots symbol to the movement. But they say that this stand is not just about their own interests.
This one is for Belize. There is no turning back in this. As we have said from day one, this is not the path we chose, this is the path the government chose. We will continue out here. This is a resistance that will continue at all costs until we achieve our just objective, which is to fix this broken system, which caters only for ministers and their families.
Can the PSU, can the BNTU sustain this?
Well, that will be seen. This is the beginning. This is the beginning, and it will be sustained, as I've been saying from day one. It's a resistance that will be sustained. It's a resistance that will be seen like has never seen before.
But it's left to be seen how far this will go, because demonstrations against the government are not new and these issues can persist for years. A man who's tussled with different administrations for close to 30 years, longtime unionist George Fraser, knows this all too well. And today he stood tall with the public officers and teachers.
This is a part of my life, part of my spirit. I was born in freedom, and we got to have it on good governance. We are also against cutting the 10% if there are other ways for years, especially under UDP. And we were negotiating usually in 2.5 years we finished negotiating. When I left, it was 12 years and we still never finished negotiate. So we are here to fight for Belize. Teachers must take the lead. We are against corruption. We want enactment of those good governance things like UNCAC and others.
Mr. Fraser, do you think the unions have the power to turn or twist the government's arm to implement these legislations?
We have proven it, and you can see right now it's only one bus per branch which came. Only one bus per branch. So don't underestimate the power and the determination of the union. We want what is best for Belize.
But is anyone listening to the message of the unions?
Well, we believe that our message is always heard, It's whether those persons who are hearing it will be honest to say that they've heard the message. But we know that the message is being heard.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.